I do want to sort of bring into the space the expansive thinking that you're now doing in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
you're bringing capital to Black creatives, and so just talk to us about what you're doing on the narrative front.
Yeah, so Dr. King and I created Red Entertainment, and we ran the same play. We bought the largest stake in a white film production company here in Hollywood.
Wow.
Again, same model.
I love this strategy.
And when you look at it, you know, and I love my team over there. They're great, but they understand there's some factual stuff in here about white privilege is what it is. And half of you got to be able to work with white people and help them understand, like, I'm buying this is why, but we got to be real about what's really happening here. And so the company I bought is a great company with great leadership, okay? Phenomenal, on the balance sheet was good. But they also were just overperforming in ways that you just got to recognize is probably because of some privilege that was baked in the cake. So the company I bought, the moment that we bought, the Dr. King and I bought into it, it was incubated at a very well-known production company. You know, I mean, studio. One that's like top 2. If you had to name 2 studios, you're going to name this.
You're
one.
going to name it.
So when it's embedded there, and they got free rent, they got, you know, free, office space, admin help, all the things, as well as a first look deal to buy everything that they think about. I'm like, okay, we can't do that. Like if I had one show that did good and we are Black and I try to do that, no, that just wouldn't happen. So we bought a company that had access that in a normal market just doesn't make sense.
That's the buying of the white
That's
privilege.
the privilege.
Yeah.
So we buy that, but we also bought a partnership of people who may not be in our community but understand the value of our stories.
Yeah.
And so if you look at what we just published 2 weeks ago, we told the story that, you know, we do a lot of government-based stuff. This is when my government stuff kind of comes back.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you two clips. So when people see this, you're gonna be like, okay, this dude's wilding. That actually happened. One, we just told this story of we want to celebrate Black women in the military.
Yeah.
And so my CEO, Adam, went out into a boomer. And a boomer is the most sophisticated deadly weapon ever created. It is a submarine with 160 warheads. It's off the coast of California sometimes. And nobody who's a civilian has ever been on it. But through our government connections and a little privilege, we were able to get on this submarine and tell the story. And so when you think of a submarine with nuclear warheads and it's so sophisticated, you would not think that a mile below the sea in the Pacific are young Black girls running this thing.
Wow. Are we going to be able to talk about this? I mean, is the CIA going to shut us down?
No, so I can talk about it now because we just published it. We just published it. We just published the story in Vanity Fair, so you can go see it. It's called Deep Dive.
Wow.
So our business model is
You said it's called Deep Dive?
yeah,
Okay.
it's in Vanity Fair. So our business model is we will write long form in Vanity Fair to de-risk our projects. So I know who read the article with the analytics. So literally, we can sell the IP not because we think it's a great story and you like it. It's because I can show you how many people read it, how many times it got shared.
People read it. Yeah.
And so to bring this full circle on the entertainment piece, we just finished production of a show called The Return. And this is when I was
you were
talking
telling us about that.
We're done and so this show, and I'm promoting this for everybody watching it. I think this will fundamentally change television. And that's a big statement to me.
Yeah, that is a big statement.
But I take yourself back to, for those of us old enough, to the first episode of Survivor.
Yeah.
Survivor was like 2000. You really didn't know what you're watching, but you had to watch it. Right? You're like, it's these people on this island. They're kind of naked. They got to get like a knife and some rubber bands and survive.
Trying to figure
it out. Like
out.
you don't even know. You don't know if they're gonna die. You don't know what's gonna happen. But you like the camera's rolling. I don't know if they start getting ate up by something, somebody gonna save them. You don't know what the reality show was, but you knew something had changed about TV.
Yes.
We did not know that Survivor in 2000 would spawn a whole genre of television that some kind of way turned into Real Housewives.
Yeah.
But that was the origin.
That was the origin of it. Yeah,
And
that's absolutely right.
So what we believe is possible, through this show, The Return, the show, The Return, will be the first time in American history that you will see a behind-the-scenes look at America's White House, a reality docuseries filmed at the White House, surrounding how we get our hostages home. And we started with the concept of Brittany Griner.
With Brittany Griner. Yeah.
And we said, if you were Brittany Griner and if you supported Brittany Griner getting out, in the very beginning, you said, well, I don't feel like the president is meeting with her spouse. I don't feel like they're doing enough. And then the ball players came out, We Free BG. Everybody started rallying because they were feeling like there wasn't enough pressure being placed. Okay? Worse. Brittany comes home, and then the other side says, well, you traded Brittany for Satan. So this doesn't make sense. Send her back. So you had this whole concept of nobody was happy. Well, the question that we felt needed to be asked, and we are appreciative of the White House and others, and this is the current White House, so this is like right now. We just finished this right now. We appreciate everybody who's involved. We want to ask the question of, what is an American life worth? And what will your country do to bring you home? And for anybody that's ever had their passport stamped, you're always thinking something goes wrong.
Right.
What if I'm not a ball player that the world knows? What if I'm just a regular public defender in Los Angeles who got caught up on a bad day? And that's literally our story. We follow the life of a public defender who's a LAPD, who's incarcerated in Venezuela for over 6 months, tortured, and damn near dies as he's living in this prison in Venezuela called the House of Dreams. And we filmed the White House's negotiations. We filmed here in LA with his family, who's trying to figure out how do they gain notoriety for themselves to help their family member get home. And then we film in Venezuela. Nobody has ever seen the behind the scenes of how an American hostage comes home. But this will create, and I believe, once the world sees that this level of access was given to tell a story that the American public needs to know, we believe this will birth government reality.
Oh, interesting.
Because what is better for our democracy? Think about it.
Than actually seeing your government.
Seeing what it actually does. Not having the filter of news bias. We all filter to the news that we think is going to tell us how we want to hear it. What if you skip past that and just say, just let the cameras roll behind the scenes and see what happens? And so now that the White House has done it.
What's the name of it again, Ashley?
The Return.
The Return.
So now that the White House has done it, why wouldn't the governor of California say, do a reality show for me if you got all kind of national security levels that we had to work with?
You had to go through.
You got none of that at government at the city level and the state level. So I honestly believe that 5 years from now, we'll look back at this podcast and we'll look back at all these things and we will say, there was an era when people were running for president that they wrote a book. I think it's going to be now. They want a reality show. Because
they want a library. No, now they want a reality show.
Now they want a library to run before they run. Because they look at what Trump was able to do with name recognition before he even started out of the gate. So what if you had your own if you were a governor or a mayor? And how much fun would it be to see the inner workings of a mayor's office in a city that's thinking that just government transparency is an issue? You know what I'm saying? So now you reinvent transparency. You're able to say, like, this is what a healthy democracy looks like. Let us see.
Reinvent accountability, too.
That's exactly right. And that's what Red Entertainment is doing. We're trying to tell the story nobody wants to tell. We're trying to recalibrate the system so that we all can see the story that actually needs to be told, which is the truth.